Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Speech Check. I am Sam.
And I'm Matt.
And this is episode 13.
And today we're going to talk about Bleeding Edge, GTA 6, and our best gaming anecdotes. But before we talk about any of that, Sam, what have you been playing?
I tried to diversify what I was playing this week.
Okay.
I went back to my 360 a bit. But the main focus I've had whilst lockdown has been going on has been to get to rank 50 on Red Dead Online, which I did. So now the only thing I've got left to do with regards to the online is to get, I think, to get MVP 3 times with 4 people in a session, which isn't too hard, but that game is just not made, I don't believe, it's made for PvP. It doesn't work that well. It's just a bit janky. Like ragdoll physics kind of doesn't work that well, I don't think. It's a little bit too loose, but I haven't really played it much in a PvP thing. I played a couple of games. I got my ass handed to me. I thought I was doing all right in terms of like my progression and rank and stuff. But I was like, I think maybe I was like rank 47 when I went in, and I was the lowest person in the lobby. There was like rank 200s, 300s,
What?
stupid numbers. I don't know how people are doing that, because I didn't think it was that much of an investment or that popular that people would be getting to that kind of ridiculous ranks, because it takes a while to go up the levels. Not as much as I think it did on GTA Online, but you see that on someone's profile, you think, okay, they must have put quite a few hours into it, because they're probably not, or have not gone about it in the same way I have.
Yeah. Are you gonna?
So there's a little bit. Go on.
You're gonna boost for the MVP achievements, or you're gonna get it naturally, or?
I at least try and go for it legit the first time, and if it's seemingly impossible, I'll try and get some people together, or at least get a team of people where I'm not the only person trying to get that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like, we're actively trying to get one person the MVP or something like that. But yeah, I don't immediately go for just trying to take the easy way out of trying to get multiplayer achievements. I'll at least go and try and get them myself legitimately.
That's fair enough.
But now that I've done that, I can focus on the story. I've put a bit more time into it. I'm up to the next chapter. Done a few more of the stranger missions. The game... So a lot of criticism that people have thrown at Red Dead 2, and not the few and far between they've been, is that it's quite slow-paced. The preamble before a mission, or even the missions themselves, is a lot of walking, go and speak to this person. Almost a Metal Gear Solid vibe of there's a lot of cutscene, a lot of dialogue, a lot of talking.
Yeah.
And I'm getting that more the further I get into it. But if you're one for story, this is, which I wouldn't say I'm definitely that way, but I'm definitely not adverse to it either. I'm just enjoying it as both a cinematic and of a game. But they're definitely leaning on more of a story aspect than they have in things like GTA.
Okay.
Well, there's maybe more of a character focus. Not that it wasn't in GTA, but it's definitely pushed harder in this. But it's still amazing. I got Fable Anniversary with Games with Gold. If you know what Games with Gold is?
Yeah, they give you a free game every month, right? You get a free download.
Yeah, so it's 4 a month technically, because it's one on the Xbox One and then one on the 360 for the first half of the month, and then another one for each on the second half.
Okay, that's good value.
Yeah, it's pretty good, to be fair, because I think it did used to be 1 back in the day. And I got Fable Anniversary, so I didn't play Fable initially, first time around, didn't have an Xbox. I've played 2 and 3. 2 was good, 3 was okay.
That's a fair assessment.
To very quickly sum them up, that is pretty much how the world sees them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've maxed 2 and 3, and so I thought, right, I'm gonna complete that series now. I'm gonna get Anniversary, and then I can have them all lined up nicely, have them all on my profile, and be like, yeah, I've done Fable as a series. Big old tick. Put it on, played like the first tutorial bit. Was like kind of meandering through it, and thought, oh, do you know what? I'll check what just the kind of achievements I like. Went through them, and then they're all pretty much standard fare. There's a few cool ones thrown in there, but there's one that's connect it with the Smart Glass app.
Okay.
The app you get on your phone, and that app is now discontinued, so that's not doable. So that kind of pissed me off. That's
frustrating.
I'll be able to get them all. I'll be able to get 49 out of 50. So that's gonna irk me already. So that kind of, I started it and immediately got pissed off when I was out. I'm not playing this.
Do you reckon you could?
I'll go back to it.
Reach out to Xbox or something and ask them to unlock that achievement for you because there's no other way to do it. And I don't know. Do you reckon they do that kind of thing?
There's been very few instances where devs have like put servers back up for a certain amount of time so people can get stuff. Or it depends who you're dealing with, but I think because there is an Xbox app already, so there used to be one for the 360 that was Smart Glass,
mm-hmm.
and then just the Xbox app, which I do have, but there's no way to do the functionality that you need on this app. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's a thing going on in the background, like on the achievement forums and stuff that people are trying to set up, but it's a very, very, very long shot. So I'm not holding my breath on that one.
Yeah.
But might just be something I have to live with, which, just one of those things. And I tried to play Super Contra.
Okay.
Which, do you know what? I'm almost very good at it.
What does that mean?
But it's kind of weird in that if you can go through the game, if you can get to a certain point and you haven't, it's weird because once you get hit, you're done. Like the lives thing almost doesn't matter because once you lose, because you lose your weapon.
Yeah.
So you get the spread gun, which is, I've seen people do it with the missile gun, which you get like, I think it does the most damage, especially when you get them another missile. But the spread gun for me is more of like because I'm not very good at it. Spread gun's like a way of bailing you out, I guess. Of you just cover the screen in bullets.
It's easy area control, right?
Yeah, and I think you might get I don't know if you get a damage increase on the second one you pick up, but you go from 3 to 5, which is just insane. And if you can keep that, that's fine until you get to the boss of level 3. But then that just kind of throws everything at you. And it's hard to... it's a bullet hell game, so it's going to be that way. And it is Contra, so it's not meant to be easy.
Mm.
So yeah, that's about as far as I can get is level 3. I did have a good run the other day where I got to that with the level 2 spread gun. Then you get hit, and then the 4th level is insane. It's quite short, but the enemies are really tanky.
Mm.
So, like I said, once you get hit, you're kind of done. You have to not get hit, basically. Technically, for the achievement, you have to do it on 1 credit, so you can have maybe 4 or 5 lives. But like I said, you basically have to do it without dying. So, one day, intense. Maybe. So yeah. That's the bulk of what I've been playing, but what have you been getting up to, Matt?
So I didn't take my own advice from the last episode where I said that Resident Evil 3 was not worth a purchase at full price. And I went and bought it.
Went in?
At full price. And my initial judgment was correct. And I was, in fact, I was more disappointed by the main game than I thought I was going to be. Like, I'd heard it was short, and I'd heard it didn't have the same kind of formation as Resident Evil 2, which is a game I very much liked. But I was kind of shocked at how it was designed. It wasn't just the length, which my first run, taking into account that I hadn't watched a playthrough, I hadn't watched a speed run, I'd watched some review materials, and I'd had my ear to the ground about the game, and I played the demo. But I was able to complete it in 3 hours and 45 minutes. For a first run with no real foreknowledge. Like, I've played 2, so I'm comfortable with the mechanics and stuff. But yeah, I thought that was like criminally short. There were literally 2 puzzles in the game, and I don't even know what to say about that. Like 2 or 3 puzzles, and the only thing you unlock for completing it is a shop that allows you to buy. This is something I mentioned in the last episode, but you unlock a shop that allows you to buy additional items for your next run through the game. So you can get like, I don't know, an infinite ammo weapon, or you can get a special knife that sets things on fire. Weirdly enough, they allow you to buy certain key items as well. So you can start the game with, for example, the bolt cutters in your inventory. So you can immediately start cutting the chains in the early sections of the game. I found that
so you can make
strange.
the game even shorter.
Yeah, if you want to.
Okay, interesting.
So yeah, as I said about the design, it has this really annoying habit of loading when something difficult was about to happen in the game, right? It loads you up with ammo and health, and then gives you a save point immediately before you do that difficult thing. And then once you finish a difficult thing, it gives you maybe 50% of that ammo and health again at the end of it. And then you move through a section where really nothing happens. And then if something difficult is going to happen, it just repeats that pattern, which in my opinion defeats the object of a survival horror game, where I'm supposed to be rewarded for my ability to conserve resources, explore my environment, and then when I get to those difficult sections, I should have set myself up in gameplay to be able to overcome them. I shouldn't have to rely on the game boss dumping items on me. It's like I don't know. It's like if you're playing a platformer or something, or a first-person shooter, and you go into the room before the boss, and they laden you with like an extra life or a ton of ammo, and then you fight the boss. But it was like every difficult encounter was that, and it just, I don't know. It wasn't a survival horror game. Really short, disappointing. Resi Resistance, on the other hand, I'm pleasantly surprised with. I'm trying to get my head around it at the minute. It's quite a deep multiplayer experience. Playing the survivors is much easier than playing the mastermind. I've had 2 or 3 games as a mastermind, and I got absolutely rinsed. Because you kind of have to control the battlefield, or the environment, I should say, from the perspective of these different security cameras around the environment, and like you place zombies and spawn them in, you spawn traps, you switch off lights, lock doors, and you just have to have a really good knowledge of all the maps and where you want to put stuff and how you want to hold the survivors up. So it's quite challenging, but good fun, and I can kind of see myself getting into it. I got Dead Cells for the Switch. Fun, roguelike, platformer, decent combat. I could see myself sinking some hours into that. And I've also been playing Bleeding Edge, which is something I'm going to talk about in my releases. So I'm not going to say too much on it now.
Okay.
But that's what I've been playing.
Cool. So that's what we've been playing. But Matt is going to tell us now what has come out. Lead on, Matt.
That is exactly what I'm going to do. Our first release is XCOM Chimera Squad from Firaxis Games, coming out April 24th, 2020. This is not XCOM 3. This is an aside after XCOM 2, so it's like a spin-off, I guess. It's like a spin-off chapter of XCOM set 5 years after XCOM 2. And it's going to be like a smaller micro XCOM. I'm going to let you jump in on this one, Sam, because you've played XCOM 2 pretty recently. So if I start talking and I misspeak, just correct me and let me know what's up.
I've done a lot of observing of 2. I haven't played 2, but I know like a fair bit about it. I'm a big fan of XCOM in general, and I think I'm surprised they didn't release this in a similar vein to War of the Chosen, which is like the expansion for 2. But I guess if they felt it was different enough in what it was trying to achieve, that it deserves to be its own game. And from what I've seen, it does look cool. But I'll let you cover that.
It does look very different. So I tell you what, let's start with the story. So we're set 5 years after XCOM 2, like I said, and you're in City 31, and humans, aliens living together, uneasy harmony. You play a squad, kind of like a SWAT team, that is tasked with going around the city and stamping out insurgency. So you have, in traditional XCOM style, you've got your kind of war room map where you look over the city and you can see the unrest levels and all these different sectors. You pick a section of the city that has unrest, you pick a mission within that, you go there and you tackle some alien bad dudes doing bad things. they've switched up the way that the missions take place. So every time you engage in a mission, you start with a breaching section now, where you place your squad members all around the building or location that you're having to assault, and putting them in different locations provides different buffs. So if you put someone next to a window, for example, they might smash in and have 25% chance to hit people for that round, or something like that. There's lots of little micro buffs depending on how you want to breach. And there's also specific breaching points for different members of your squad, because they're not all human. Your squad is comprised of aliens now as well. So you have basically one of each, roughly speaking, of the cast of aliens from XCOM 2. So I do not know their names. You've got a sectoid, a muton, a snake person, who I don't know the name of, and a couple of hybrids from what I've seen. And they
roughly cover the generic scope of classes, like tank, sniper, that kind of stuff. I don't think they're too with their own, I guess, unique ability to XCOM. That, to be fair, I think they've actually thought out pretty well. But generally speaking, they're your tank support, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the muton's the bruiser that smashes up scenery. The snake person is like a CC, so you go up to someone, lock them down, move very quickly. You've got the sectoid who can control people's minds and do the psionic stuff. Seems interesting. Each one of these squad members as well has their own personality. Each one is named. They're all characters. It isn't like XCOM 1 or 2 where you have a squad of basically generic faceless people that you apply a personality to. You go in with these guys and you expect them to die at some point too. They're
all expendable. Yeah.
That's gone. No more permadeath. So if one of your units dies in a mission, you restart the mission. The mission has failed and you have to start again. When they receive enough damage to be killed, quote unquote, they go into like a downed state, and then you have a certain amount of time to revive them. So that's kind of the toss up there. There's no permadeath, but they can be downed, and then they'll be out for medical reasons for a short time, which is something that happened in XCOM 2, I believe, as well. If someone gets injured, they have to go to hospital, and then you can't use them for a few missions. And while they're out, you can replace them with androids. So you get basic androids that don't have any of their special abilities, but can still wield different weapons and different equipment. So it's going to be a bit more of a story focus because of that, I think. You've got all these characters that are going to be going through their own, their own stuff as you move through the world of Chimera Squad. Another interesting change, besides the permadeath, is that the way that turns are handled has been changed pretty dramatically. In XCOM 1 and XCOM 2, you'd have enemy turns and then player turns, and you'd move all your units and then confirm, and then the enemy would move. And now, a lot more similar to Dungeons and Dragons, if anyone's familiar, you have an initiative order. So you have squad members and aliens with high initiative, low initiative, and it just gives you a stack of where everyone's going to act. And your actions can affect that stack. So you can change the order of friendlies and enemies by the things you do in the environment. So throwing a stun grenade or something might shove someone down the initiative order, or you can link up. This is a one-time special ability everyone has in one of these missions, where you can force two squad members to follow each other in initiative order, so you can pair up their special abilities. For example, someone casts a buff, another person uses an auto-aim shot, or something like that. Seems pretty interesting. I think it's going to make for a faster pace of gameplay, and it just looks like an interesting get. I'd say this is almost definitely a get for anyone who liked XCOM 2, specifically because it's going to be on discount from release for a week. So for the end of April, you're going to be able to get it a lot cheaper than in May. So just watch out for that. I think this is one to pick up, personally.
I think, it's if you're a fan of XCOM, you probably already know about it, and you're probably going to be up for it. I don't know what it's going to do to bring in new fans, but having a smaller, more compact version of XCOM might be like a gateway game to make people go back and get to, potentially.
Yeah, it seems like a more accessible experience, like not so...
That's probably a good way to put it.
Overwhelming. You've got not necessarily a smaller squad, but you've got a specific squad, and it's laid out for you, and here's what they all do, and you play to their strengths. Whereas in XCOM 1 and 2, you can kind of mix and match, not, infinitely, but you have a lot of control over what your squad members can do. And taking that away might make it a bit of an easier experience for new players to jump on board with, but only time will tell, and this is kind of a pre-release look at the time of recording, so it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. Next on the go on, man.
I was going to say, from what I remember as well, from some of the release material, there's like a Spec Ops mode, I think it's called, where you can send one specific soldier on like a mission by themselves to, I don't know if it's unlock certain abilities or to just progress them faster. And I don't know if that's at the expense of you're doing that. I guess you wouldn't want to do that if you have to respond to an unrest mission, whatever that's going on in the actual game. But I don't know if there's a way to specifically rank up that person.
I think it's something you can do with soldiers who aren't in a mission. So if you're not assigning them, or that they're not able to go on a mission, you can put them on these Spec Ops missions, which are... is there an equivalent in XCOM 2? I want to say research, but it's not. It's that kind of thing. It's like a background. You don't play it. You just kind of assign them to it, and then...
That's happening whilst you're doing other stuff.
Yeah, it's a bit like having a spy in Civilization, or Shogun Total War. That's kind of an odd comparison to make, but it's that kind of passive... You put them on a passive mission, and they achieve their goals without your interference.
Okay.
I think.
I am with you.
From what I've seen. But yeah, moving on to Bleeding Edge, coming at us from Ninja Theory. This came out March 24th, 2020. This is an interesting one. It is a third-person 4v4 brawling hero shooter. And Ninja Theory are the developers of the DMC entry of the Devil May Cry series, and Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice. I have it written down in front of me, I just can't read.
Sorry, they made the DMC that everybody hated.
Yeah,
I say everybody hated because they changed what Dante looked like.
I didn't think it was that bad of a DMC game. Like, it was, it was a bit
I don't think it
more
was.
over the top.
I think because they did what people maybe described as sacrilege, and they fucked with a beloved character. I think that's why it got panned.
They made him a bit edgier. The writing was worse. But the gameplay was, solid enough.
I know there's a point in the game where he puts on a white wig, and he looks like old Dante, and he's like, "No way," and throws it off, just as an additional fuck you to everybody who likes the original games. But yeah, sorry, carry on.
That's maybe not the best move from Ninja Theory, but while I was watching all of the review material for it, I actually ended up picking it up. I didn't expect to, because it's got kind of average reviews. It's doing okay, but it's just kind of interesting, right? To have some brawling mechanics in a MOBA-like setting with a shooter in there too. And I think a MOBA is probably the closest comparison I can make. When I was playing it, it was very much like playing Heroes of the Storm, which is a game I liked very much. It's very similar to that. You have control point gameplay. There's no mobs or anything. You don't have the 3-lane maps. It's not quite that far, but you have your heroes that are split up into DPS, support, tanks. You go into an open map that has, like I said, the control point gameplay, or you've got this mode where you have to collect power cells and deposit them. So kind of like a capture the flag with a bit of a different twist. It's interesting. I'd argue that the design of the game is a bit much at times. They've kind of overdone it on the character design. They've dialed that knob up to 11, and that can get a little bit saccharine sometimes. For example, the poster boy character is a ninja graffiti artist who has like a cross between traditional Japanese culture, samurai armor, and like spray cans and like b-boy stuff on, and it's like okay, and there's a Russian assassin who has giant mechanical chicken legs, and her primary attack is to fire feathers from her arms. Like it's almost too much. They're too designed. Like someone should.
It sounds like Overwatch on crack.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like playing the rejected characters from Overwatch.
That's probably quite a good way to sum it up, actually.
It's not bad though. Like I spent some time with it last night. I spent more time with it last night than I did with Resident Evil 3. But I'll leave that, let that lie. And I was enjoying it. It's fun to like put your team together, fight over these objectives. There's a couple of issues with the way that the third-person brawling works. It can get a bit spammy. Like there's a parry mechanic that there's no point in ever using. I played it for 6 hours. I was never parried, and I never parried, and there was no need. Like there was no point in doing it. That it's so suboptimal. Nobody does it.
No one's making a parry only building.
No, not yet. Anyway.
Yeah.
And the characters that shoot, so the range DPS, has a lock-on feature. So you just have to hold X, and you can just lock on and shoot. And when you combo that with characters who are melee focused and who you have to be mobile with and trying to control the battlefield, in that sense, it kind of defeats the object of being mobile if someone is just locked onto you firing. Like my mobility doesn't mean anything if you can just aim at me automatically. Particularly thinking Gizmo.
The challenge is gone. Doesn't matter how fast I am. Yeah,
and I don't have all of the effort they put into the brawling where you've got combos and escapes and get up attacks, super armor. Like it does have stuff from fighting games, which is cool. But it's all just moot when someone's just firing at you. And it's like, well, okay, I have absolutely no recourse to what you're doing. Like I feel like ranged attacks are so much better than melee. Melee does stun, which is good. So you can try and approach someone who's ranged, stun them, stop them doing it. I don't know. I had a few problems with the balancing. But I think for a game that's in its infancy, for this kind of hero shooter game, I think it's good. It's a good first step. It definitely needs balancing. It needs more heroes. It's only got about 12 at the minute. And it needs more maps and game modes. From my count, there's like 4 maps and then 2 game modes. So it can get a little bit stale kind of quickly. But, trying out different heroes, seeing what their combos do, seeing how they play, like that is fun. And I found myself getting into the mindset of looking at a team thinking like, oh, what should I play? How should I play it? So I was engaging with the game. So it's fine. It's a fine game. I think it's worth a pickup if you're into MOBAs. I wouldn't compare it to Overwatch, really. It's on the face of it similar, but I found it a lot more comparable to Heroes of the Storm, like I said earlier. So if you like that kind of gameplay, I'd say check it out, see what it's all about. It's fun, it's different, and I think it's going to go somewhere. So it's going to become a game that's definitely worth buying, in my opinion.
Okay.
The last game that I've got for us all today is my indie spotlight game. This is The Complex, coming at us from Wales Interactive, released March 31st, 2020. And this is a little bit left field, something I've not spoken about yet. Is an interactive FMV cinematic game. I don't think I've spoken about any FMV games on Speech Check yet.
They're definitely a rarity, yeah.
People kind of stopped making them after when CDs stopped being new. Like that's when FMV games kind of stopped, from my knowledge. And this is a genre of game which is very familiar to Wales Interactive. So they make a lot of these kind of games. They like the kind of branching story path, low, I don't know what to call it, low agency, I suppose. It's a game in a fairly loose sense of the word game. But you
just kind of make your own choices, and that is the game.
Yeah, it's Telltale, but a little bit more restricted. It's Man of Medan, Until Dawn, that kind of stuff. But again, more restricted. There's no open exploration sections. From what I've seen, it's a well-acted FMV game on par with like a lower budget BBC series. Good props, good sets. It looks interesting. The game takes roughly 1 to 2 hours of playtime. And when I say the game, the film, I suppose, the experience, seeing all of the scenes that would take you from the beginning of the story to the end, that's about 1 to 2 hours. There are a lot of scenes to uncover, and your decisions do really matter. And they take the story into pretty drastically different directions from what I've seen. There's 9 different endings, and that doesn't mean that you get to the end and it's always the same location, but different stuff happens there. You literally affect the story, so it takes a different path, which is nice. It's not something that a lot of these kind of games do often. You know, typically they just end in a slightly different way, or there's different people surviving. But no, this really does switch things up. As for the setting, it's a sci-fi thriller set around a bioweapon countermeasures service amidst a spree of bioweapon attacks. So you play a scientist in a headquarters type building. The building becomes under attack from some new bioweapon, and you have to find your way out and figure out if there's some kind of, there's intrigue, there's drama, there's mystery. I think it's interesting for anyone who likes, sci-fi thrillers of that nature. It has a similar system to, as I've already mentioned, the Man of Medan and Until Dawn, where you have all of your actors that you're interacting with, and they each have a relationship meter. So you can get better or worse relationships depending on your decisions that you make with these characters. Seems interesting. It's not full price. It's fairly cheap. If you like these kind of games, if you're into sci-fi thriller settings, I'd say check it out, pick it up. Seems like fun. And that's what I got for you this episode.
Cool. Thanks, Matt, as always.
No worries, man. So I'm going to shut my face now and let Sam tell us about the news. What's going on in the wider gaming world, Sam?
Well, the first one I've got is something that we've covered, probably not extensively, but we have definitely treaded over this familiar ground before. And that is loot boxes. And that now there's going to be a PEGI warning on game covers, and when you go to download a digital game, you're going to get a little icon on it to say that it has paid DLC and quotes paid random items, which most of the time is going to be loot boxes or some loot kind of mechanic. The PEGI definition of a paid random item, it's a little bit wordy, so stay with me. It is, quotes, paid random items are a particular form of optional in-game purchases. They comprise all in-game offers to purchase digital goods or premiums where players don't know exactly what they'll be getting prior to the purchase. Depending on the game, these items may be purely cosmetic, or they may have functional value. They can include characters, outfits, other appearance upgrades, but also tools, weapons, blah, blah, blah. They can unlock levels, new skills, provide performance upgrades, yada, yada, yada. For the purpose of this descriptor, paid random items are those that could be purchased directly with real money, and or those that can be exchanged for an in-game virtual currency that itself can be purchased directly with real money. Which I think is a pretty good cover of, not letting any devs find some kind of weird verbal loophole and try and get around it.
Sure.
Yeah, a pretty good definition of what constitutes that thing, which, can only be a good thing, right? But if you don't necessarily know, if you're a parent buying stuff for your kids, you might not know there's stuff in it, so now you're going to at least be aware. Yeah, that's going to be written for you in plain English, that if you see, I believe the icon, it's a picture of a little hand holding a credit card. So it's pretty black and white. It's probably not going to do, I think, a lot to combat kids still spending, whether purposefully or not, hundreds of dollars or pounds on stuff in Minecraft or in-game currency or FIFA points or whatever. But they're taking some element of responsibility to do something, right? So At the end of the day, if they're putting that on there and you're not taking note of it or paying attention to it, then that's whether they've done it to obfuscate responsibility to the parents rather than them. I don't really know what more they can do other than that, to be honest. Because if all you've got to do is say, well, we're only going to let adults buy this, but if you're 14 and using your dad's account to play FIFA, that's your loophole right there. So, But either way, I think it's a good move from the regulatory body of video games to take a bit of proactive action. So, fair play to them. My next one is that a source close to Rockstar, so not officially Rockstar themselves, but I can't verify who the source is either. It just says a source. That's the story I read. A source close to Rockstar has broken silence on the new GTA. So there's a lot of stuff floating around on the internet. If you check any well-known game website, they'll probably have at least one article a month reporting on some kind of thing with GTA 6 that it's going to be set here, or it's going to be with these characters, or whatever. But they have confirmed basically that they are working on it, but it's a long way off. The direction or kind of scope of the game will probably be different to what we've seen in 5 and potentially with Red Dead as well. That I don't know if you know about this, Matt, but there was quite a big issue on Red Dead 2, the development of Red Dead 2, that there was a huge crunch towards the end.
I didn't hear this.
Yeah, it was quite. I don't think it's well documented, but not well publicized. So if you Google that, you can probably find a few stories on it from employees, and I think it's the reason that Sam and Dan Houser, the guys that I don't know if they founded Rockstar, but they were heads of it. That he left, I think, in the wake of that. So yeah, I think their approach to the next GTA, whether that is GTA 6 or GTA : subtitle, whatever they decided it to be, that it might be potentially smaller in scope, because that could still mean it's a huge game, because Red Dead 2 and GTA 5 / GTA Online are pretty beastly projects in their own right.
Yeah.
But I think they're maybe trying to just prepare people that it might not be, maybe trying to manage the hype a little bit. But I don't know if they will, because anything Rockstar make is, well, they make AAA games, that is what they do, and they generally are Game of the Year, if not Game of the Year contenders. So, but yeah, I think it's good that the company is at least looking to approach this in a way from the beginning that crunch is avoided as much as possible, and planning out like a realistic schedule and what can be done. Which I get is not easy, isn't always easy. Excuse me. But at least they could probably show that if they can do it, and they're one of the biggest publishers / developers in the business, that if they can do it, then everybody should do it, right?
Yeah, set the precedent.
Yeah, if a team, I can't even think of how many people they've got on staff, but if they can do it with their X amount of workforce, then there's no reason that people like Ubisoft can't do it, people like EA can't do it, and they're EA particularly being one of the worst people. Do you know they were voted, I think it's either 2013 and 2014 or 2012 and 2013, the worst company in the world.
Really?
Or like the worst company to work for, something along that lines. Yeah. It was the worst company of something.
Can't say I'm surprised.
Yeah, I definitely believe it. My final one, I'm getting through these thick and fast today. It's because just with the state of the world, there's not a lot going on. If anything, it's just, I could have made this a list of everything that's been cancelled. But I'm trying not to be that way. But the last one is that people might have seen this because it's been kind of floating around for a little while. There's going to be Lego Super Mario sets.
Oh yeah, I've seen this.
They've actually been given a pricing and a release date.
Ooh.
So I don't know if you've ever gone to buy Lego, Matt, as an adult. I thought I'll try and recapture some of my childhood a little bit. Lego is insanely expensive.
Yes, it is. I went in with Fran one time into the Lego store in Cardiff because we were going to try and get some some of the the nano blocks, like the really small Lego.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought they made an official version of that because the ones that I found are all kind of knockoff, but they don't, and I can confirm Lego is insanely expensive.
It is. If you want the big boy ones, if you want like an X-wing or I don't know, Hogwarts Castle, they're going to be about 100 quid easy.
You take out a small mortgage to get Hogwarts.
Yeah. Mortgaging my Lego house when I don't have one for an actual house.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've given a release date of the 1st of August, so they're a little way off. I'd imagine they probably would have been scheduled for a little bit earlier, but because of everything that's happened, they've pushed that back to maybe a more realistic date when they hope that stuff's going to be calmed down. But you can get your starter pack, which is Adventures with Mario, and that's 50 quid. I don't exactly know what that is in dollars, probably about $65 to $70, something like that.
Yeah.
In said starter pack, that's going to get you Mario, it's going to get you Baby Bowser, Goomba, the Goal Flag, a Warp Pipe, and a Mystery Block. I think the main thing they're selling on is that Mario can do a lot of stuff, and you can basically build levels that Mario can kind of go through and interact with. So in the little Mario sorry, carry on.
Is it a board game?
It's like an interactive Lego set. You can customize stuff, and you'll be able to make different levels with further stuff that comes out. So you can make like World 1-1 and have like the normal blocks and stuff, the enemies and stuff Mario's got to go through.
Okay.
So the little Mario dude has inside him, he's got an accelerometer, he's got a gyroscope, and he's got a color sensor. So if you've made lava that he falls in, he's got a little screen on him. So if he touches the lava, he knows it's lava. The flames come up a little screen. He does a little scream to say like, I'm in intense pain.
I'm burning alive. Help me, somebody.
Yeah, please help me. But yeah, his facial expressions can change. He's got a little speaker in him, so he can do sound effects. I imagine he's got the "It's a Me" and his little like "Wahoo" and all the standard Mario stuff. Like I said, he's got a screen on him as well. It's going to link in with future sets. So again, you can take this one. The more you own, I guess, the more options you can exponentially create. So you can make they're probably going to do like a Bowser's Castle one, Peach's Castle, various other, like a sea one, a flying one, that kind of stuff. It also has an app that's going to come with it, which I assume that you can get. It's just going to be free. That it advises you on like, here's ways you can set up the courses. Here's like additional, more detailed instructions you can do if you're struggling to put it together. So they've gone a little bit extra. I don't know if they do that already with Lego stuff, but they definitely do it with this. And I just think it's a really good marketing strategy from Nintendo to. They've been focusing on, like, again, gateway stuff to introduce younger people that obviously, kids now didn't grow up with Mario like we did, or maybe the generation slightly older than us. So I guess they've got to think of new, more up-to-date ways to get them into it, which I know they kind of explained was this design philosophy behind Super Mario Run. It's just like an easy way to get kids interacting with Mario or their kind of brand, and then be like, I like Mario. I'll buy Super Mario Odyssey. I guess the same they did with Mario Kart Tour, where they were like, I played that on my phone. I'll get Mario Kart 8. Yeah,
they're trying to capture that youngish generation because they've got every other one basically, right? Everyone knows who Mario is. Like, he's one of the most recognizable gaming characters in history. So they need to capture the new youth. It's an intelligent way to do it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, if after doing all this they could sort out their online, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But, one step at a time. But yeah, that's my news. That's all I got for you this week, Matt.
It was short but sweet. I loved every second of it.
Yeah, I usually waffle on, but I thought, this week nothing's happening. Let's Let's not make mountains out of molehills. Let's just say what's been happening.
There's one thing I love. It's waffles.
So that was the news, short and sweet as it was. But this week we've got the question, as always, which was, Matt?
Oh, the question was, what are some of our best gaming anecdotes?
Start us off, Matt.
So this was kind of a weird one for me, because I don't feel like I've ever really done anything particularly noteworthy in games or surrounding gaming, personally. The first one that sprung to mind, I absolutely love Resident Evil 4. It's one of my favourite games of all time. I'd put it maybe top 3. And on my second playthrough, I did the whole game with just the Red 9. As soon as I could buy it. I kind of just wanted to see if I could, because it was so good in my playthrough. I was like, you know what? This might be all that I need.
But this might be a thing.
So I sold everything else. When I got the Blacktail for shooting all the medallions, I sold that. Never picked up a shotgun. I had to use a rocket launcher at the end, and I had to start with the basic pistol. But I literally just sold everything else, picked up the Red 9, went through the whole game. When you've got the stock for it... Do you know, I think I did this. It was a bit cheeky, because I did it on the Wii version, and they didn't have... Their calculation for reticule sway on the Wii wasn't great. So you kind of had perfect aim as long as your hand was steady.
Yeah, I've heard from people that if you were good enough, you could be insane at Resi 4 on the Wii.
Yeah, like you just click on heads and everything's head explodes, and the Red 9 does so much damage. You were doing shotgun damage at pistol range, so you could just kind of walk through it. So that was pretty fun. Going to the midnight launch with you, GTA 5. I think I mentioned this in a previous episode, but I waited in the queue for you mainly. I wasn't that fussed about GTA. Like, I played 4 and it didn't really capture me, so I kind of just left it.
Yeah, why were you there?
For you.
But was it just that I didn't have anyone to go with?
I think so. I think you were like, Matt, do you want to come to a midnight release with me? And I was like, yeah, all right then.
But didn't we have work the next day?
I don't remember, mate.
I definitely had work.
I remember... Was I in HR at that point?
GTA 5 came out in... No, it came out in like 2013, I think, I want to say.
Jesus.
I'm literally Googling it now.
Yeah, I remember going to the midnight relaunch with you. And we waited in line, we were just chatting, kind of vibing, having a nice time. I think we got some free food as well. And when we got to the front of the queue, you were like, "Oh, you've waited all this time, Matt. You might as well get at least the basic version of it." And I was like, I mean, all right. And I asked the guy what he had left, and he was like, "Oh, we've got none of the like super edition. We've got none of the super edition. We've got the special edition steel case, and then we've got the normal ones." And he had one left of the special edition steel case. And I remember being like, "You know, I'll take the steel case for the extra tenner." And there was like a palpable sigh.
Everyone, oh, for fuck's sake.
From the people behind me, and it was extra sweet because I didn't really even want it that badly. But I mean, I played through the whole game, enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed the online for that as well. I played that a fair bit, like the competitive side of it. So that was cool. And I have very specific memories of getting the Fallout New Vegas special edition too, because I pre-ordered it. It cost me like £100, and that was a ton of money for me when. Like at that stage of your life, when you're like around 20 years old, like £100 is a lot. So I putting that down on a game was a big deal for me, and I remember just kind of like relishing it, like opening it up really slowly, looking through the like hardback comic that shows you where Benny came from and stuff, and the deck of cards.
Didn't you get a pack of playing cards and you got a platinum chip?
Yeah, you get the platinum chip and you get some of the chips from the other.
From each of the casinos, yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? I think I don't know whether I was drunk or something, but I think I've lost the cards and 2 of the chips. I think I was pissing about with them while I was messed up. So I
on like the edge of a cliff or something.
Oh, whoops! I just dropped them into the Grand Canyon somehow. But that's kind of a very specific gaming memory I have. Maybe not necessarily an anecdote, but I remember like in my head really clearly looking at the receipt from game. Because it was like really, really long, and like it had all my details on there and stuff, and it's quite like a magical thing at the time.
Did they make you sign it as well?
Back in the day, they did. Yeah, you had to sign your pre-release, then you have to go in and show it, and then you'd sign for the
to say that like it was you that pre-ordered this, and you're not. You are the person that paid for it and is picking it up.
Yeah, you like sign for the purchase. So that was kind of interesting. Something else. This is just me waxing lyrical about gaming memories now, but on Steam you earn these cards, like trading cards. I've never really understood why anyone cares about them. So if anyone does care about them and wants to enlighten me, let us know. Call to action. Let us know down below. Let us know and do that. And I had collected a lot for maybe like 3 or 4 years or something. Like I've just been playing it. I've been racking up these collector's cards. I didn't really care about them. And one day I was like, you know what? I'm gonna sell them all on the Steam marketplace, because they brought out the marketplace. It was fairly new, and you could just whap all of the cards on there, and they're worth about 2p each or something, 2 to 5p. And I made like 20 quid. I sold about 400 cards because I play games every day, so I was building up maybe 2 to 4 cards a day for 4 years. Like it was a decent amount of cards. Sold them all, and I think I bought some game on sale for it.
Getting money by doing something that you'd be doing anyway, right?
Yeah, I just don't understand them. I don't. Like I said, I literally don't get why anyone cares. I don't know what they are, why they're there. They're not. They're like achievements, but worse. I just don't understand it. But yeah, what are your gaming anecdotes, my dude?
Well, I'll start off with the smaller ones, and I'll hopefully build to a grand crescendo.
Ooh.
I had one that in the break between finishing year 11 and being on exam or study leave, whatever you want to call it, I did a lot of gaming, not so much revising, which is probably why I'm in the position I am now, but I stand by my decisions.
Mate, you're a technical author. Nothing to sniff at.
It's more luck than judgment, but regardless. I went for all the flags on Assassin's Creed 1.
Ouch.
And I did it in like one night. I found this website called, very creatively, assassinscreedflags.com. And they have like an interactive map, so you just hover over them, show you, and be like, underneath the roof of blah, blah, blah. So I did all that, bang that out in one evening, all of them. I can't remember how many there is, but there's a lot of them. And I was playing it. I think I finished it about 6 in the morning. It was light by the time I finished, and I was like, oh man, that was an ordeal. But I'm glad that's all over now. I'm done. I can go to bed. And when I was living at my grandparents', my room was basically like front and center in the house. And I had this huge window that took up. The room wasn't insanely big, but the window was like 3/4 of the.
Yeah.
So big old window. And I was like, right, I'm gonna start packing everything up. I was like, right, I'm just gonna climb to bed, sleep for 4 hours, and then I'll be all right. And as I went to turn my Xbox off and everything, I had this huge bang on the window, and it shook me up, and I was like, what the hell was that? And I looked, and there was like this huge stain on the window. I was like, someone just like egged my house or something randomly. And it was like the biggest dollop of bird shit I'd ever seen. And I don't know what speed the bird must have been traveling at, but it was like someone had got a ball of just food, random old stuff you'd find, like it took a handful out of a food bin and launched it my window, and it was terrifying.
It's like you summoned it by collecting the feathers.
Yeah, maybe that's your IRL reward for collecting all the flags in Assassin's Creed. Get assaulted by bird shit.
Dollop of bird shit.
Yeah, within 5 minutes of finishing it. My next one, which I think I have mentioned previously, is my boosting of Red Dead Redemption. The original had DLC, which opened up poker and liar's dice, if you know what liar's dice is.
Mm-hmm. I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's fun. It's just the game within a game, but it's interesting enough. And I think you had to win a full game of Liar's Dice without losing a single dice. And the most efficient way to do that is to get, I think you needed 6 people. The way I went about it was I would go around, I would call out their names, and they would tell me the amount of ones that I had. And the way it works is you can make a spot-on call, which is if you say, I think there's 5 ones. If that's correct, everybody loses a die. Whereas if you say, I have 2 2s, and I call your bluff, that only eliminates 1 die from you. So the quickest way to do it was to make a spot-on call, and then everybody loses a die, and then it just gets everybody out. And that took about 4 hours, because obviously it wasn't just me that had to get it, so I had to stay and get it for everybody. So it was an ordeal. And then the poker, there was to win a hand with a full table when the blinds, which I think is, I don't know about poker, but I think it means like the minimum bet is the highest it can be at the start.
Okay.
The blinds had to be at max. But to do that, you had to be playing continuously for like an hour. So I think we had 6, but then once everyone played one hand, 4 people could leave, and it just had to be one person, so that we had to like go off into splinter groups. And that was just hours of torture again. At least the Liar's Dice was like, it felt good to have come up with this system and be like efficient in trying to get it done, whereas the poker was just sitting there and just, it makes you question your choices and what you're doing, and you're just waiting 3-4 hours. I think it was only worth like 10G or something like that. It wasn't worth it.
Oh man.
So, but I completed that game, which not a lot of people have done, so that's a reward in of itself. And then my last 2 are connected because they're games of the same series. Gears of War 2. Gears of War 2 was a really hyped release for me, because I think I've covered before that my friends in school had a good old time with the first one, sunk a lot of hours into it. And then we were really hyped that 2 was going to be the next phase of what we're going to have. It was going to be like a new wave of multiplayer that we were going to all enjoy. Anyone who's played Gears 2 knows that wasn't the case. But the initial purchasing of it, I remember I said to because I was only 18 at the time, I think, 18, 19. So I said to my family, well in advance, I was like, right, this game comes out on this day. I'd like to get it at midnight, please, if that's okay. My aunt agreed to try with me. I had to get it from the Tesco just because that was the nearest place by me that was going to be open 24-hour. I don't think like midnight releases weren't really a thing at this point. But the Tesco was 24-hour, and if it came up available at that point, I was going to go and get it. So I remember being 18, 19, and you remember the confidence you had at 18, 19, right? You're not a man of the world yet. You don't know what's going on.
Yeah, or the lack thereof is one way to describe it.
Yeah. Ringing up a Tesco store. Who does that, by the way? I'm surprised you can do that. And I was like, yeah, I want to speak to the manager. Ringing them up and being like, hello, I'd like to purchase this game, please. It technically comes out on this date. You are a 24-hour store. Will I be able to buy it? And I must have been speaking to some middle-aged woman who probably didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. That was like, oh yeah, we'll do it if Dave's there. And I was like, well, do you know if Dave's going to be there? Can you tell me? Can you confirm that now? Because surely you must have a schedule. And she was like, no, if he's in, we'll be selling it. I don't know if like
nice.
Dave has the skeleton key to unlock the storeroom at midnight, when that's a thing. But I remember I went in and I had to demand that this person, I was like, I want to buy this game, you don't have it out, I want someone to go get it. And like someone had to go to the back and physically hand it to me. And they probably hated me at that point, being this 18-year-old little twat that's coming in. It's like, I want this game. Give it to me now.
It's probably not what you want as a member of 24-hour staff. It's midnight. Maybe you've just started and you go into like 8 a.m.
Yeah.
And someone's
I know that now.
I'd like this game, please. You don't put it out because it's...
Yeah. This thing isn't exactly the way I want it. What's going on? But in before I even got there, I was at my friend's Tom's house. Just because we finished college. I think it was on a Wednesday or Thursday. And I rang to make sure everything was in order. I said, look, I'm going to come back at this time. We're still okay for tonight, right? And my nan was like, oh, I don't know about that. She was like, oh, I don't know, your aunt's very busy. And I was like, what? What's she doing? She said she'd take me. She was like, oh, I just don't, there's no way we can confirm this. So I was pissed off.
So not no, but I can't confirm that she can.
Yeah, I think it's just because my nan had never... I'd arranged it with my aunt, but then my nan had never been informed of the situation, so I think she was trying not to sign my auntie up for something that she maybe didn't know she was agreeing to, but she was erring on the side of caution, I guess.
Fair enough. Good job, Nan.
Yeah, well done. And then I had a similar thing with Gears 3. I got like the full Insane edition that came with like a statue and... The box art of the game, to look at it is terrible, but it's like it's meant to be the information disc that one of the characters gets given. It has like combat data or something on it. It's an important item for the campaign, basically.
Okay.
You had a code that was like, this entitles you to all the DLC, and you get this little box. And it's the award that your character's father gets given for like saving humanity. And like it's a little cog, and the code of the for this like the season pass is like inscribed on the back.
That's cool.
So they went pretty intense with it. But I remember I bought it. This is when I was working part-time at Primark. So I finished at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Went straight to game. Was like, hello, here's my bit of paper. I'd like my Epic Edition of Gears of War 3, please. They were like, sure, no problem. This comes in this huge box. So obviously it's got this statue and everything in it. So I was like, cool, thank you. And it was probably like 120 quid. It was an insane amount. When you're getting like 400 quid a month at that point, and that's almost half your, or like 3/4 your pay, or whatever. That's a lot. Yeah. So I was like, cool. Oh, I was stoked. I was like, yeah, I've got this. It's going to be great. Hopefully it's better than 2. And I had to get on a bus home with it. And it was pissing down. It was like one of the worst days of weather. And then where I used to live, I don't know if you went to my old parents' house, but it was like kind of a bit out in the sticks. Not like insanely. It wasn't like out in the wilderness, but it was like you had like the main bit of Whitchurch ended, if you know what Whitchurch is. And then like maybe a mile and a half down the road, there was like maybe a collection of like 10 or so houses, and mine was one of those houses. But it was like you had to just walk. It was a 50-mile-an-hour road. And it had like, not really pavement, you had to like, it was just a slither of grass that you had to walk along.
Fucking hell.
And the bus like stopped. I got like an earlier bus, which didn't stop anywhere near that, so I had to just traverse home with the wind of the rain. I got maybe home an hour and a half later than I normally did, and it was just such an arduous journey to get that home. And I just remember that being horrible. And another one that just popped into my head, I got stopped by the police whilst I was going to pick up Call of Duty Black Ops.
Really?
Yeah, again, I was walking down that road, and I wasn't going to buy the game. I was going to borrow it from Tom, because Tom lived in, and still lives in Whitchurch. So I was like, I think it was like 11 in the morning on like a Sunday. I was like, I said to my mum, right, look, I'm going to Tom's, going to pick up this game. My friends are coming over later, blah, blah. I'm going to come back. I think I really needed to wash at that point. The gamer stank going on. So I just threw on some joggers, threw on my hoodie, went to go down this road, and as I was maybe a few hundred yards from my house, felt a hand on my shoulder. I had my earphones in, so I wasn't cognizant, wasn't paying attention to anything. This guy flipped me around, and he was like, "Can you tell me where you've just come from?" And I was like, "I've just come from my house. I live just up the road." And he was like, "You match the description of someone who just robbed a shop in," I think he said Cheddar. And I was like, how would I have got here? And I had to like confirm who I was. I had my ID and stuff on me, but there's another guy he was in an unmarked car. The guy was nice enough. He was just doing his job, and I was cooperative as I could be. But I was like, you just caught me at the worst time.
Like greasy, stinking on my way to borrow someone's game.
Yeah, I was going to be like, I'm going to pick up Black Ops 1, please don't arrest me.
I need it. It's my weekend. It's my entire weekend, please.
Yeah, and I was like, if you go like 400 yards up the road, you can speak to my mum, who will confirm indeed that I am her child.
And I wasn't in Cheddar a half hour ago.
Yeah, I was like, surely if I am here, ask me how the hell I've got here and what ungodly powers I've got to...
Yeah.
I'm the dude from Infamous, if I'm here.
Making it from Cheddar to Whitchurch,
in like 45 minutes.
It's not. That's no mean feat.
On
Even
foot,
in a car,
yeah.
Like that's no mean feat.
You'd have to have no traffic traveling at 100 miles an hour.
In a straight line.
Yeah, as the crow flies.
Yeah, I came in my DeLorean.
Yeah, it's just parked behind those bushes, that's why, yeah. But yeah, that's me, and the out. I hope they were interesting.
They were. I found them interesting.
Oh, thanks.
Oh.
So yeah, those are our anecdotes. I hope they were interesting, maybe a little bit funny. But our question for next time is, Matt, inform the people.
Where do we stand on cheating in games, and what do we define it as? I'm interested to talk about this one.
I think we've kind of privately had discussions about this before, but I thought it would be a good topic that maybe divides the viewership a bit more.
Get into it a little bit.
So that's it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening, as always.
Yeah, and thank you for choosing to spend your time here, listening to us ramble about games for a good hour or so. And keep your eye on the Vox Ludio YouTube channel, where we're diversifying things a little bit. We've got speech check episodes up there, all the ones going back to episode 6, I believe.
Yeah, 6.
And I'm slowly uploading a playthrough of Resident Evil 3 so that everyone can share my disappointment. And there's little bits and bobs flying out on that one. And the Facebook page is frequented by Sam.
It is, yeah. I'm trying to have some more stuff. There'll be more stuff going up Friday, which is tomorrow at the time of recording. So 24th. And that's hopefully going to be a little bit of content that we'll carry on. Thanks to everybody who's engaged with the Facebook stuff so far. People went crazy for our quiz. It probably helped that we paid Facebook to boost it for us, but nonetheless, it could have fallen flat on its face.
It was a good quiz, man.
Yeah, people seem to like it. So that was nice. I did think about doing another one, but then I got about 4 and it was too hard, so I stopped. That's the kind of content you can expect from us. If it's difficult, don't expect it.
If it's too hard, just stop.
Yeah,
that's one thing that we all know we should accept.
Adversity never builds character. It's a fallacy.
Yeah. If something's difficult, don't try. If you fall off the horse, stay on the floor. Don't get up. Don't get back on.
Yeah, just think maybe I shouldn't be horse riding.
Yeah.
Go. Yeah, pick a different animal.
Or a different hobby. Start whittling.
Yeah, thumb twiddling. Make that be a professional thumb twiddler.
Make it into an Olympic sport. Do that.
Yeah, thanks as always. Keep supporting us if you do, or if you don't support us, start supporting us.
If you don't, just start. Even if you don't like it, just start.
But if it's hard for you to support us, then don't try. Yeah, but no, thank you as always, and we'll see you on the next one.